What is up, everybody? Ethan Newberry, the Ginger Runner, here for Ginger Runner Live number 51. This is not my regular studio. I'm in an actual running store in Seattle, Seven Hills Running Shop in Seattle, Washington.
Wow.
Let me just show you what we got going on. People all around the shop. Everyone can wave. It's just nuts. There's about 150 people here.
Yes.
People are taking their shirts off. That's not true. There's only 140 people. I am joined by the store's owner, Phil Kochik. Thank you, man. I appreciate it.
Thanks for coming, Ethan.
Yeah.
Thanks so much.
So I want to talk to you about a couple things today. First off, what's really cool about this store is that you specialize primarily in trail gear.
That's right, yeah.
Tell me a little bit about kind of the origins of the store and why trail?
So it all started pretty much with Seattle Running Company. I worked there starting in 2005. And that was the trail store back then in 2005 to when it ended in 2010. And when it ended, it just there was no go-to trail store anymore in Seattle. And I had a dream of having my own store for a really long time. And it took me 2 years after Seattle Running Company closed to get this open.
Yeah.
Mostly because I was scared to do it because I thought it wouldn't work. I had a lot of people tell me it wouldn't work. Scott McCoopry, the owner of Seattle Running Company, said it wouldn't work. And Hal Kerner, who worked with me briefly at Seattle Running Company, said it'd be silly to have a store that had mostly trail shoes. So, that was years ago. Now I think if I would have presented the idea now, people would be like, oh yeah, that sounds like a great idea. Because trail running has gotten so much bigger since 2010, more people doing it, more races, more shoes, more sponsorships, more excitement, just more press, more bloggers about it.
We're seeing races sell out quicker.
Yeah. So
ones that normally wouldn't sell out.
Yeah. So now it makes perfect sense. But just 5 years ago, people were like, you're going to have a running store and not have that many road running shoes?
So did you decide to build a running store right next to a marching band? I feel like I hear.
Oh, yeah. So it's funny. I don't even hear. So that's kind of cool. Seattle Running Company was below the Century Ballroom Dance Studio.
Oh, man.
And you would always hear, that's what you'd always hear, stomping up there. Customers would say, what is that? And you'd be like, oh, yeah, they're doing dance class upstairs. So we have a fitness studio upstairs. And that's kind of cool how it's that's connection there. But
already we have people in the chat room. Zev Runs is saying the shop looks far nicer than any shop in his neighborhood. So I agree. The shop is beautiful. This is my first time here.
Yeah.
It's a wonderful shop. So you decided to go all trail. And
well, we do have road shoes, but our focus is trail. And that was the intention from the get-go. And so, yeah.
How have you managed to stand out? In this day and age, a lot of people are buying their shoes online. A lot of people are looking for the cheapest deals or the best deals. What is it that sets your store apart and brings? There's a lot of people here. Yeah. How is it that you build this community and do what you do?
So I knew Seattle. I just have been selling shoes in Seattle since 2001. Before Seattle Running Company, I worked at Sound Sports, which is a great little running shop downtown.
Yep.
And they're still open. They're great guys. So I just knew, ever since those days and the Seattle Running Company days, people would come in, people were always buying shoes at full price when they could have gotten them cheaper at REI or cheaper elsewhere because they just wanted, you'd hear all the time from customers, we want to support local, we want to support you guys, we want to shop local.
Yeah.
And so I knew, I just figured, well, why wouldn't they do the same with our shop? But really, too, I think a lot of people buy their trail shoes or bought their trail shoes online because no one else sold them. And so my idea was if I could just get all the cool trail shoes that were advertised in the Trail Runner magazine and Ultra Runner magazine, have them all in one spot, then theoretically there wouldn't be any need to order them online because you could come to one spot, try them all on, and buy them right then.
Yeah.
I know still people buy shoes online, and that's fine because a good deal is a good deal, but there's enough people in Seattle to help make it work too.
Yeah, what again, this is my first time here, but what I'm already finding is that you've made a community. You not only have a team of runners who are a little bit behind you. I'll just kind of show them. A lot of them are standing over here. They've got the Seven Hills running gear on. There's a whole bunch here. Yeah. So not only have you created a team, which we can talk about in a little bit, but you created a community. You do group runs. You had a group run last night, right?
Yeah. So, well, the community was already here, really. Yeah. I mean, I knew that's why the store would work. The community was already around. It was kind of maybe went through a little hibernation, because once Seattle Running Company ended, it just seemed like there wasn't a place maybe for people to hang out or go to and talk about races or whatnot. And so that's kind of why I thought, oh, maybe if I open a store, then all of a sudden
the people will follow.
You'd get people to, people would follow. Yes, but yeah, the community was already here, so I definitely didn't start anything. I owe a lot to Scott McCoubrey, Seattle Running Company founder and Seattle Running Club founder. Yeah, so yeah, I just kind of riding the coattails.
Let's talk a bit about your racing history. I mean, what got you into? I mean, I know because I've read articles and interviews with you and stuff like that. But for those who might be watching live, if you haven't heard of Phil, you should have. You should know Phil. So you have a pretty good history of racing.
Yeah, that was like a lifetime
road
ago.
And trail.
That was before getting married and having kids. But again, it started with Seattle Running Company and Scott McCoubrey. I was working at Sound Sports, and even in Seattle, I grew up in Ohio, heard about ultra running, but it was something that sounded so bizarre and so crazy that I kind of brushed it off. I ran my whole life, and I loved running. I thought marathons were awesome, and their marathons would be all you could possibly ever want.
Right, that was it, the end all be all.
I mean, why would you want to run farther than that? I moved out to Seattle, started working at Sound Sports, and a customer, Tim Lofton, he moved to Texas, but we still tweet every once in a while. He maybe he's in the chat room, but Tim mentioned he was doing White River 50. He just came in, he bought a bunch of goos, and what I always do when someone's buying a bunch of food, I'm like, oh, what are you training for?
Right.
So he was like, oh, White River 50. And I was like, 50 miles? Like, what? And he was just a normal guy. He didn't look super in shape. He didn't look super fit. And I knew it didn't look fast. I was just like, how is this guy going to run 50 miles? And he said, oh, you should look into it. So it was in the Race Center, which we just got the new Race Center magazine. It was in the Race Center. It was in the list of races, and it said, White River 50 miler, USATF Trail Championships. Right. And I was like, whoa, USATF, this is legit. This wasn't just some crazy, something that no one. It was USATF.
Right. It's a sanctioned race.
Yeah. The prize money. I was like, whoa, and that was all I learned later, because Scott McCoubrey, got it to be the USATF thing.
Right.
So, I don't know if I would have done it if there wasn't prize money, because I was fairly fast at the time. I didn't have much money, and so I was just like, "Whoa, prize money, great!" And it was $1,000 to win, and $1,000 to me was like, "Whoa, that was like the greatest."
You're set for life.
Yeah, so I went for it the next year. So when Tim told me about it, it was maybe right before the race. So the next year I did it, and I think I was 11th overall, but 10th. I still remember I got like the 10th
first 50
place.
miler.
Yeah, I got the 10th place USATF, because Uli, who won, was not a U.S. citizen at the time. So I got a 10th place USATF ribbon. I was like, oh, that's pretty good. Next year I actually won the money, because again I was second, but Uli was still not a U.S. citizen.
Set for life.
Yeah, I was like, thank you USATF for taking so long to recognize Uli as a citizen, because I was like, oh, $1,000, sweet.
Yeah. Straight into your cash or into your bank account, right?
Yeah. Well, no, it took, I think that was 2004. And so that was before I worked at Seattle Running Company, but I met Scott McCoubrey in 2003, the first year I did it, and I saw him again in 2004, and I didn't start working for him until 2005. But I kind of knew, you know, everyone once I started doing some trail running, I heard more about him, and I must have seen him at some group runs or something. But yeah, I lost my train of thought, but
it's $1,000, man. It's still just like, oh, I gotta earn it.
Yeah, $1,000, and then so I was kind of hooked. I mean, I really like So those are my first two ultras: 2003 White River, 2004 White River. I didn't do anything in between, but after I won money in 2004, I was like, oh, maybe I should do more of this stuff. And then I did some pretty good races in 2005 and 2006 and 2007. Before I kind of hurt my Achilles, but
we won't talk about the dark years.
Yeah,
so
the middle ages, yeah.
the long time ago. So you opened the shop in 2012. So you've been here for a couple of years. CJ Borden in the chat room. What's going on, CJ? Regular viewer. Phil, what is the biggest challenge to opening and sustaining your own running store? So now that it's been open for a couple of years, you probably have a good idea of kind of what it takes to at least keep the doors open, keep customers coming in.
So actually, yeah, you don't need that much money, but I found you really need a small enough place or just a cheap enough rent. And I really found to keep mentioning Sal Running Company, but it was a really old building on Capitol Hill, and at the time, for years and years and years, they had the cheapest rent because it was just an old building. I mean, the Oddfellows Hall was just an old building, and it seemed like it was one of those buildings. It was kind of historic, but nobody cared about.
I feel like I actually remember the store because I went to University of Washington, and that was kind of the running store to go to for a long time.
Yeah, and they just had this huge space, and it's just cheap because I guess the landlord didn't need money for it.
Yeah.
But then it changed owners, and the building just like tripled its rent, and that just kind of killed. And I just knew I needed a cheap rent.
Yeah.
And I have a really nice landlord, and I wouldn't have signed the lease here if it wasn't for the landlord, Dean, who doesn't run, older guy, lives in Magnolia, our neighborhood Magnolia. Great guy, doesn't care about running, he just wanted a happy tenant, someplace that would be here, a place that would be here for the long haul, so he wouldn't have to keep looking for a new person
of course,
every
new
year.
Tenant.
So it's a cheaper rent. It's a usable space. You know, I didn't have to put that much money into it to get it open. And that's, what was it, Chad? Or
yeah, CJ.
CJ, yeah. I mean, I didn't want to do a lot of build out and cheap rent. So that's what you got to look for. Yeah, a nice space. They don't have to sink any money into, because you don't know if you're going to.
You started with $1,000 though. You started with the $1,000.
I had $1,000 at least.
Yeah.
But I could have used a couple more thousand. But the
well, we're actually getting people in the chat room wanting to know how they can support. People are already asking where they can get the T-shirt. I know that you make a bunch of custom gear.
So this is, I don't have any more exactly like this. We have
So you can't. Sorry guys, that's it. Limited edition.
We're getting a lot. We got the jerseys that you can buy. But
hoodies.
We got hoodies.
Jerseys are right behind Phil. You can see them back there on the rack.
You kind of have to like online. You can buy the sticker. You can buy a sticker online for $250. But I took
buy 8,000 stickers. That's and hats.
The hats are online, I think. Yeah, this hat's online. But our jerseys I took offline because we don't have that many, and I was afraid if a few people bought them online, and it just gets, we don't sell that much stuff online. But you could always call, email. Like I definitely like it when we sell some shoes to people pretty regularly in California. They just email or Facebook message us saying, hey, do you have this in a certain size? I'm like, sure. And we mail it down to somebody or mail it to somebody. So we just got the new cool Pearl Zumi tanks, custom made.
Those are awesome, right back there on the door.
Yeah, they're pricey, darn it, because they just cost a lot to make. But,
oh no, trust. Yeah, making any sort of custom gear is not cheap.
Yeah. But we got a bunch of kind of generic blank Pearl Zumi shirts coming in and Solomon shirts coming in that we're just going to screen our logos. This is just a Brook shirt that I screened. So yeah, we'll get more in.
So it's literally one in existence, and you're wearing it. That's it.
No, there were some. Yeah,
it's $1,000 if you guys want to buy it. It's $1,000. Everything's in $1,000.
We got some blue ones. there's a blue one over there. We got some blue Brook shirts right now, with the V-neck. They're pretty.
Yeah, people are loving the
stylish. We got
jersey
some
on the
blue.
back, on the door, and stuff like that.
But I kind of try to keep it fresh. We don't. I think we got the blue hoodies twice because people like the blue hoodies, but I try to change things up, even with the stickers. I mean, this is the first time we did the sticker this exact way, and I did this hat's a little different than it was before. I mean, try to change it, keep changing it, so get different colors of shirts. We might not do the logo the exact same way every time, just to change it up.
No, it's cool. We've gotten a couple questions in the chat room here. Again, I want to go to anyone here that has a question. Feel free to just raise your hand at any time. I can throw to you. But
these guys know it all.
I've realized that they're probably regular customers that come here all the time. And one of the questions is, I'm glad that they asked it. What is your fitment process? So if someone comes into the store for the first time, let's say a knowledgeable customer or a non-knowledgeable customer. What's kind of your process? Do you
so here we try to treat everyone the same. I mean, I came from the background of Sound Sports, the Outrun Company. We watch people run down the sidewalk. We talk about pronation. The Outrun Company, we watch them run on the treadmill, videotape it, play it back slow motion. We'd tell everyone, Scott Jurek trained us in analyzing your gait. That was a bit. I mean, people were like, "Whoa, Scott Jurek trained you? Whoa!" But it's the silliest thing, to me, and I'm glad for the Born to Run movement with the not so much the minimal stuff, but just in the terms of running free, not worrying so much about stuff. Sure. I mean, running shoes were getting to the point where the whole stability concept was, if you pronated, you needed support, supposedly. And so if you watch somebody run and they pronated, you would, like I said, running with the video, we would put as much stability as it took to make it look like the ankle was straight. And I don't think anyone thinks like that anymore. Although some stores might still sell shoes like that. I don't even want to say their name.
I know for a fact
the Shoe Dog store is like, I don't know, but so here thankfully most of our customers come in, they want trail shoes, so that's what we have the most of. And in trail shoes, you don't have to worry so much about the pronation. You don't have to worry. Yeah, you don't have to worry. You just want a shoe that fits and feels good. We try to watch people run outside just to make sure. I mean, if someone like their ankle bones are touching the ground because they're pronating so bad.
Well, that's the problem.
Yeah, then it's like, oh, maybe they should probably not have the most flexible shoe. But it's weird. Sometimes the people that have the worst mechanics are the people that those 5-finger shoes work the best for, which is kind of mind-boggling. But so nobody knows, or nobody could say. I've been selling shoes so long, and you just can't say, oh yeah, this shoe, this is it. This is the only one. Yeah. And a lot of stores try to say that. They try to say, they try to pigeonhole you into a few shoes because they just want to get you in, get you out. Here, thankfully, I mean, we never had this many customers.
Everyone has to buy a pair of shoes tonight.
Yeah. Before we'll lock the door, Chris.
Lock the door until you buy a pair.
But so we got, even though there's usually one, maybe at most 2 people working, there's plenty. I mean, you have plenty of time to try on a ton of shoes. We're like so Style Running Company turned into Fleet Feet, and then there I saw like the nasty side of running specialty in that. So Sound Sports was family owned, Seattle Run Company was family owned, Fleet Feet was just a corporation, and I was like, whoa, this. And now it might be different because I think Brian, who owns Fleet Feet's finally more in charge. But at the time when it first turned into Fleet Feet, it was all about selling stuff. Just sell, you can't just sell shoes. You got to sell shoes and insoles and socks. Yeah. And
reflective laces and then socks.
Insoles
and then
are just the worst. I mean, I don't even know. We kind of hide our insoles because I'm almost embarrassed to have insoles. But anyway, yeah. So anyways, and I heard from a good friend of mine, John, worked at another corporate place, and he was like, it's all about insoles and socks. And I was like, what, insoles and socks? Why isn't it about shoes? So here we're trying to be I think if you have a good pair of shoes, that's really all you need. I mean, that's what it should be about. Like, again, the Born to Run thing, just toning it down, not needing so much. Just get a nice pair of shoes that feels good.
Something that feels good.
Go. Yeah, don't worry.
I mean, I get
so
that
much.
question all the time. And before this whole thing started in 2002, 2003, for me, I would go to the local run store. I would do what you did, or what you do with customers, which is I get my gait analyzed, and then I'm told, oh, you're a supinator or a pronator or whatever.
Yeah.
So anytime that I get asked this question, I always tell them, go to your local shop, family-owned shop, as close, however far you have to go to get to that shop, as opposed to the big brick and mortar, and then try on everything. Would you hate it if a customer came in and was just like, I want to try on all those shoes?
No, that's kind of, I mean,
because in my mind, I'm like, that screws the employees, because then they have to touch every shoe. And
no, I mean, that happens a lot. And that's something that, I mean, might not fly like at a corporate place, because they just want, they do want, a few shoes, not to get anyone, don't confuse the customer.
Right.
And sometimes, we shoot ourselves in the foot. If we try 10 shoes on somebody and then like, oh man, I just don't know. And then you might think, oh, maybe I should have only tried 8 shoes on, and they would have picked one.
Sure.
But I mean, sometimes you try 10 shoes on, and it's that 10th one, they're like, oh, this is it.
The magic shoe.
Yeah. So,
I mean, I can't tell you how many times I would go into a running store, try on 4 different styles or pairs of shoes, different brands. And I'd be like, well, I really like this one, but these other 3 are okay. And they'd be like, oh, no, you need this one. And then they would, put it in your hands and then make you walk out with it. And it was always the exact same brand and model of shoe. And so in my mind, I kind of formed this conspiracy theory that shops, yours excluded, but bigger brick and mortar shops would just buy a surplus of some shoe and just have to get rid of them. Is that true?
Well, they might just have like sale incentives. Like, if you, maybe Brooks is giving you $2 a shoe to sell, or something. They do what do they call those things? Sale incentive. Spiffs or spoofs or something we used to call them. Yeah, like if you, or there'd be a contest where every New Balance you'd sell, you'd put a ticket, you'd get an entry into a contest or something. And
you're inspiring people to open up stores. Yes. People are like, I want to open a store to compete with Fleet Feet.
Yeah, I definitely think. I mean, you can't. You got to be careful, because before you start, CJ, was it CJ?
Yeah.
CJ and everybody else, before you, get too high hopes, saying it is really territorial. Like, you got to be far enough away. You can't just open up right next to Fleet Feet. Although, part of the reason why I wanted trail specific was I knew I can get the brands I wanted. So I knew I can get Solomon. I knew I can get Pearl Zumi. I knew I can get La Sportiva. I knew I can get Innovate.
Mm-hmm.
I knew I can get all the trail brands, because no one else had them. And most running stores focus on Brooks and Asics and New Balance and Saucony. And I didn't know if I could get those, but I didn't care, because I was going the other way. And so, but I mean, most of the corporate places aren't going to have Solomon, or aren't going to have.
Yeah, they're not going to have the smaller.
So you can do
brands.
That. Yeah, you could. So you could open up right next door, but then you can't get. It really does help to have the Brooks Cascadia. It helps to have the Saucony Exodus or Peregrine or something. Brands that people are familiar with. They're still great trail shoes. People are more familiar with them than they are with like Pearl Zumi or Montrail or whatever. But it just gives you more options. So I like to have. You were talking about trying on a lot of shoes. I mean, we have so many trail shoes that you could try on 20 different trail shoes. I don't know how many other places. I mean, you could try on 30 different trail shoes here, and that's pretty cool.
That is pretty awesome. I mean, it's definitely like a niche market, but now, like you mentioned earlier, is that the market is growing. Trail running is becoming more popular.
Yep.
People are getting into it, which I love. I love seeing more people tackle ultra marathons or the longer distances or even shorter distances on trails. I think it's fantastic. We're getting a lot of questions regarding gear. In front of us, we have a couple items, because this is really why I want to talk to Phil, because he obviously owns a running shop and is pretty much the expert in the room as far as gear is concerned. We have a bunch of 2015 models, stuff that you just got into the store that you might not have seen yet.
Everyone who's here has got to try on the Solomon Mantra version 3.
This is the 3rd version.
Yes.
I have reviews for the first 2 versions. I loved both of them. This is the third version, and
it's totally different. Yeah. So
it's very exciting.
So there's certain. I mean, yeah. When I opened in 2012, there weren't really. When I opened, I had, I don't know, 12 shoes or something. I didn't have that many shoes. Because even in 2012, there weren't that many good trail shoes. But now there's just so many good trail shoes 3 years later. This is one of them. So it's wide in the toe. It's snug fitting in the.
The first thing I noticed is that it actually has a decent toe box.
Yeah, it's classic Salomon, like tight here. It's got the speed laces, which you get used to, which are, you know, not everyone likes speed laces, but you get used to them. But it feels like a road shoe. You could use it on the road.
Stack height, what, 20?
I don't know.
Probably
it's a
14, 21.
It's a 6
like
millimeter
that.
drop, but yeah. But yeah, just a nice. But it's soft. If you tried the other Mantras, if you tried other Salomons, it's wider than it. It's softer than other Salomons you've had. It's just a really nice shoe, and this is a shoe that really anybody is gonna feel like it's a good shoe. Whether or not you buy it, that's another thing. But you put it on and you can't help but think, oh, that's a nice feeling shoe.
Yeah, especially for trail running. I really dug the first two versions of the Mantra. I think it's cool. So I'm excited to try these out. A brand that I have not tried yet, but you sang praises. So
being a smaller store, you know, it's easy to take a chance on a newer brand. Like if the On shoes was
On Cloud Racer.
Yeah, we tried the road shoes, and they didn't, because they're road shoes, they didn't do so good here. But they're coming out with trail shoes, they said, in 2016. So any new trail shoes, I'm like, oh, let's get it. I don't even. I mean, unless I try on the sample and it's totally horrible, I maybe won't get it. But if I try on the sample, the salesperson's nice. The salesperson,
then why not?
Wants to be. They're like, wow, it'd be great to have if you sold our shoes. Then I'm like, we're in. So Topo, you know, I saw Trail Runner Magazine did. I think there's a summer OR show in Salt Lake City. Trail Runner Magazine said that like this was the most exciting shoe, or the shoe they were most excited for in 2015. And so I just emailed someone at Topo saying, wow, I'd love to see the shoes like in person.
And the creator of this was a former employee of Vibram, right?
Tony
Five
Post,
Fingers.
Yeah, Tony Post, Topo, Tony Post. So I'd be, what shoe company would you be? That'd be a good. What's that game you play with? So I'd be. There's a Peak. I think there's like a Philco electronics company, but whatever. You could be your own shoe company.
Let's see, Seven Hills Running or Philco.
You'd be Etni.
Or just the Ginger Runners store of magic.
Okay, yeah. Whatever. But Tony Post for Tony Post. Topo for Tony Post. But really, I'm excited about this shoe. It's wide, like Ultra brand is our #1 brand in terms of sales.
Yeah, we had a question about that already.
It's just wide, only because it's wide, and I just wish all the other brands would just make a wide toe box.
Just catch up, yeah.
Just be done with it and not. But it's wide. It's not the cushiest shoe, but it's not super minimal. It's nice fitting elsewhere, and it's new and different. And what's great, you know, at least short term, I'm like one of the few places you can buy it around. So unless you order it online, you would see it here. And
I've already tried it on, and I agree. It feels a lot like a Merrill, one of the like All Out Fuse, where it's a little bit lower stack height. It feels a little bit more. I didn't like the shoe. Okay, I didn't review the shoe, or I reviewed the shoe and I did not like the shoe.
Ooh,
but I do like this. But that's just putting it on in a store and walking 3 feet in it. So I have no idea, but hopefully we'll be able to get into this.
We had the Merrill All Fuse too, and we. Yeah.
Oh no, it was a piece of garbage.
Yes.
And I said that in my review in not so many words. But then this I'm really excited about. I didn't know that you had this model. It's a model I've heard about for a long time. You guys might have seen my review with the Innovate 290 Ultra Trail 290. This is the 270, the new version, and it's almost a complete redesign.
It's really roomy and wide feeling. We found the 290s, people had to size up. It felt kind of tight. This feels so roomy, and just wider shoes tend to sell better. It's lighter. Well, it's lighter because all the Innovates, their numbers are their weights.
The grams, right?
So of course it's lighter, but it just feels more flexible. It just feels like a great shoe, and it looks cool. And it's
Yeah, I
from a
dig the
trail
looks.
brand, you know, that I really want to support the trail brands, you know, but you know, if Innovate makes horrible shoes, then it's hard to support. So I'm glad when a trail brand like Innovate comes out with a great shoe, I'm like, yes, finally, because we've kind of struggled with Innovate, because they tend to be a little bit more on the minimal side, and the industry is going to more and more cushion now, and it's harder to sell the more minimal shoes. And Innovate has so many minimal shoes,
Right.
that it's
Huge market.
Yeah.
Really big in the OCR, obstacle course racing. Really big in off-trail adventure type stuff. So I'm excited to see this get a redesign, because I didn't really like the 290, but the 270.
Yeah. Well, the 290
completely
still, they're just two shoes. They still have the 290.
Yeah.
But
now, a lot of you guys have seen me post pictures with some of the new Salomon vests. There's other new hydration vests that are coming out from Salomon, from Ultimate Direction. I'm actually really excited about this. I believe this is the Wasp.
This is the Wink, the women's one.
The women's version.
So I
like the colors.
The Wasp, or the women's or the men's version of this, the Wasp, was the first pack I ever had, and I don't know if you remember, but they had the crazy roll bladders.
Yeah.
I hate it. Just never. It always leaked. It always got water. So they finally just put in a regular bladder, just like everyone else, like Nathan, like just the Hydro Pack, zip or slide closed bladder. So you don't have to worry about getting a crazy roll bladder. But the front is just super front friendly with the pockets, so you can put in the soft flask, big pockets up front.
Here, I'll show this up to camera.
So the Wink is the name for the women's. The Wasp is the name for the men's. Same name as they had years ago when I bought mine in like 2004 or whatever. I wish they would have changed the name, because they're totally different packs.
Yeah,
it's a lot nicer. So I'm hoping people don't see the Wink and go, "Oh, I had that. I don't like it."
I didn't like it
because it's so new. It's so much better than it used to be.
And these are definitely some of the most talked about packs from my viewers: the Salomon Sense set and the Salomon Sense Ultra set. The naming conventions sound very similar to pretty much 100 other Salomon products. That's the unfortunate thing, is anytime you say Salomon Sense set, they're like, "Oh, I love those shoes." You're like, "No, I'm talking about a hydration flask." So it's a little skewy. So you just kind of have to remember the naming conventions aren't always the easiest to remember.
Yeah.
But they're two extremely light vests. They're about 3.5 ounces weight without water, which is crazy. One is obviously primarily for racing, the Sense set, which has no sort of pocket along the back. It's just a complete mesh back, perfect for breathing on long races. 2 flasks in the front and some pockets. And then this one just it has a bigger pocket on the back here and another pocket back here, kangaroo pouch, and very, very light.
Yeah, I was telling Ethan, if I ever get into Western States again, I'd probably wear this, because it's light, it's breathable, it's got some water availability.
Yeah. Enough to get you through a long event.
It's so light. Yeah, they're
stations.
So nice. And we just mailed one of these down to Gabriel in Southern California, because he just called up and ordered it. So that he saw it on Instagram, called up and ordered it. So that's kind of how we don't really have an online store so much. But if you see something on Instagram, see something on our website, just call or email us, and we'll send it to you.
I just popped up the website again, sevenhillsrunningshop.com, and all your contact info and stuff like that is there as well. So if you want to call up Phil and talk to him for 2 hours or something, go for it. I'm sure he'd love that.
Or Glenn or Chris or Paige.
No, call Phil. In fact, we just give him your cell phone number. We'll just make sure you call Phil directly.
Okay.
Raul in the chat room wants to know, what is the product that you sell the most? I'm always curious about this, because every shop will be different, especially geographic will be different.
I mean, we're definitely shoe heavy, and right now it's probably the Ultra Lone Peak is our
1.5, 2.0.
The 2.0 is our most sold item. I guess if you don't count like Goose or the food, because item wise we sell food better than anything, but just I think of everything. I really think of us as a shoe store. We have clothing, we have packs. Lately I'm thinking of ourselves as a shoe and pack store, because packs are just like taking off, but my love is always shoes. Like when I run, I just use handheld bottles. I I use packs a lot for commuting.
Actually, that's a really interesting question. As a shop owner, you get access to pretty much everything. What do you end up using? So what are you running in?
Not everything. You get more free stuff than me, and most brands don't want to give us a lot of free stuff. Like
a lot of samples.
Yeah, we hardly ever get any packs for free, and because of that, like I'll take one. I really am excited about this one, so I'll buy one of these for myself. But most of the packs, I'm like, yeah, it's cool. You know, I'm not gonna take one off the shelf because we could sell it. And but the most of the packs that I've used are just commuting, like running to and from work, and so I kind of use them that way. But
Got it.
I'm just kind of old school. It's one bottle kind of guy, and I do like the waist belt, like the Ultimate Direction Jerk. Endure, it's called. So it has the 2 10-ounce bottles. So I like that one a lot because I don't notice it that it's there. And so if I want to carry more than 20 ounces, I'll carry one bottle in my hand and then 20 ounces on my waist. But I realize it doesn't, you know, it's been a while since I've done a 100-miler, and I know I would have to carry more for races like that. But for me, 50Ks and 50-milers, you don't have to gear up so much.
Yeah, not super heavy on the gear or even drop bags for that matter.
Yeah.
What's your favorite recovery product? That question came from Arid.
Oh, gee. Lately, it's been this trail butter stuff, man.
Delicious.
Oh man, so good.
I met them at Western States, and they gave me a bladder of that. It didn't make it the trip home.
It's three. It's like triple nut blend, they call it. Three kinds of nuts, but it's just good. Good stuff. You know, I like when I get home. So that's in my car, but when I get home, I just like milk. You know, I like junk food. I like chocolate chip cookies. I'll stop at on the way home, I'll stop at Starbucks. Get my white mocha iced. But that's especially when I crave when I'm out running on the trails and it's been a while. I'm just like, oh, what am I gonna get at Starbucks? What am I gonna You
already plan your eating list for when you're finished?
Like, what am I gonna eat? Yeah,
I think that's pretty common. I think anyone that's out there for a long duration, they're already planning their shopping list post run.
Yeah,
they're gonna gorge on.
I definitely. Most of the time, though, I don't have a lot in my car when I get back, so I definitely stop somewhere and get some. But these are handy. You could throw this in the car and eat. I never liked the protein powder shake. But
that was actually one of the questions: is if there's a recovery drink or anything that you do. I think the Starbucks Double White is a pretty good recovery product.
Milk and almond nut butters. Yeah, that's good stuff.
Alex wanted to know, Phil, would you have given Marshawn Lynch the ball that pivotal last play?
I put that on Facebook.
I think anybody would have. Any human on the planet would have done that, apparently, except for one.
I was so mad. I went out for a run last night. I probably would have
38 miles later.
No, I probably would have went out for a run either way because I usually do, but I felt like I had to. I was like, I gotta work it off. I gotta move. I can't watch. See, I haven't been able to watch TV or listen to the radio much, but
we were talking before the show about having nightmares about it all night.
I did. Yeah, I couldn't.
It's pretty common.
I couldn't.
My
wife was like, "What's wrong with you?" And I'm like, "I can't sleep." It's like I'm
dreaming about Marshawn.
I don't know. It's so weird. It felt. I was trying to explain to my wife. I felt like I was part of the team. Like I was like I did something wrong, and
that's just crazy.
They lost because of me. I was thinking
I didn't close the door 5 times in a row. It's my fault.
Well, so that's a good story. Yeah, the San Francisco Running Company last year. I gotta bring this up because their team was so bad this year. But talking
about the Niners.
Yeah, the Niners.
Not Jorge and Brett.
The Santa Clara 49ers.
Terrible guys.
They So Santa Clara, or the San Francisco Running Company, they last year, 2013 or 14. Yeah, the NFC the NFC Championship game when the Seahawks beat the 49ers.
Technically 2014, yeah.
Yeah, we did a bet, and so we just bet for a jersey. Brett Rivers of San Francisco Running Company sent us a Seahawks jersey, or he said he was going to send a Seahawks jersey, and it wasn't coming, and I was like, well, I guess he's not gonna get the jersey. And I wasn't gonna say anything because I just figured, but because if I had lost a bet, I probably would have taken a while to get the jersey too.
Right. Here, scooch up a little bit.
But yeah, lo and behold, out of the blue, he posts this picture on Facebook, him wearing a Seahawks jersey, number 7, with 7 hills written on the back. And I was like, whoa, cool. And then he mailed it to us, and it was cool seeing it. We have it right in the back. I've hidden it because we lost. And when I'm kicking
screw the Seahawks. That's it. I'm done.
I ran in it for the first time yesterday. And I was like,
oh, so it is your fault.
I know. Why did I run in the jersey?
Phil is the reason that the Seahawks lost. I
took it out of the store.
The show's over, Phil. I already disconnected it. No, just kidding.
So I apologize, Seahawks fans, but
it's okay.
I would have given Marshawn the ball.
Todd brought up a great point. He said, I would have given the ball to Ethan before I passed the ball.
Yeah.
Thanks, Todd. Thanks for having faith in my abilities.
Even with Robert Turbin, he was pretty good.
Yeah, anybody. Run it in yourself.
Yes.
Give it to a.
Also would have run it in.
Give it to a grandma or something.
Darn it.
Joe Chick, what's up, Joe Chick? In the chat room has asked.
He came in the store once.
Yeah, he said, "Hey Jeff, nice. Have you raced it before?" And I don't know exactly what he's referring to.
Jeff?
If he's raced, he doesn't even say what he's raced. So Jeff, in the chat room says, "But I'm looking forward to running some wet trails. We're getting rain right now. The trails up here are getting pretty wet. It's still obviously winter and stuff like that. Yeah. Where do you train out here?"
Oh, it's Tiger Mountain, Squawk Mountain, and sometimes Cougar Mountain, but mostly those 3. We haven't had much snow, but just because of time and driving, you can go further east and get more into the actual mountains, but it just takes longer to get there and back from Seattle.
Yeah.
Discovery Park's right around the corner, so one of the reasons why I opened up here, because it's a nice place to do some trail running, but it's easier trails, no big climbs, and so I definitely try to get out to Tiger, Cougar, Squawk Mountain on the east side, about 15 miles east, at least once a week. Yeah.
I want to make sure that I open it up to anyone here. Does anyone here have any questions for Phil while we have him? If not, I'm going to go to a quickie question quiz with you.
Yes.
Where I'm going to ask you rapid fire questions. You just got to answer as quickly as possible.
Okay.
If you're ready for it.
Ready.
All right. Let me pull up the questions. If you guys are watching live and you have questions for Phil, feel free to ask him in the chat room. I'll relay it to him probably in the post show. So we'll basically wrap up the main show and we move into the post show where we can sit and banter freely. So if you guys have some quick questions for Phil,
I just remember I gotta say hi to my son Oliver. Can I say hi to?
Absolutely.
He might be watching. Hey, OC, how's it going, man?
Hey, Oliver, your dad ruined the Super Bowl yesterday. So
I hope you're having a dance party at home. Normally, what time we were having a dance party right about now is our normal nighttime routine.
Really?
Dance
That's awesome.
Party,
I can play music
bath.
if you would like to dance.
I like your tune. We should play the Ginger Runner, the opening to the
theme song.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, they'll be able to hear it in the chat room, but unfortunately, my speaker doesn't
really
play it out
picky
loud.
about songs. There's like 4 songs that we're dancing to lately, and I hate
Katy Perry.
Nope.
Katy Perry. What's the 4th one?
Thrift Shop.
Oh yeah, okay, Macklemore.
Cool Kids.
Okay.
All About the Bass.
The song that doesn't have bass.
Yeah. And what's the other one? Oh, it's actually a slower. It's the Hey Ho by like the Lumineers. Is that it? Hey, it goes hey. Oh, because we just say hey ho and all that.
That's
so
awesome.
I like that one, yeah.
All right. So this is the quickie question quiz asking Phil Kochik. Just answer the first thing that comes to mind. Doesn't have to be a long answer. It can be anything. Are you ready?
Yes.
Okay. What was your first race?
Way over 50.
Ever?
Oh, ever. Flag Day. Well, other than a school event, it was Flag Day 5K.
Did you win?
No.
It's okay.
I set a PR.
Hey.
I think.
Well, if it was your first one, that's probably why.
Well, high school. I mean, other than the high school race.
Oh, yeah. Gotcha.
This is my first road race, Flag Day 5K in Mentor, Ohio.
Yeah, you grew up in Ohio, right?
Ohio, yep.
Favorite running movie?
Unbreakable.
Trails or road?
Trails. Road.
Favorite place to run?
Man, Rocky Mountain National Park. Even though it's in Colorado. Sorry, Washington, but that's really where I first started actual trails. So growing up in Ohio, running the metro parks, which is great. I love the metro parks. took a road trip out, ran in Rocky Mountain National Park, and I was like, whoa, yes. And then I love the mountains out here, but there's something about, just because it's my first actual mountains, like first mountains I've actually seen, so Rocky Mountains.
Beautiful place.
Yeah.
It's been years since I've been there, but I remember as a kid, just mind blown. Favorite post-race indulgence?
Cookies, cakes, donuts.
So the same thing you eat all the time. Yeah.
Yes, some heavy, junk food. Yes.
And dancing. What are your current kicks? What are you currently running in?
The Hoka Huaka is my go-to for just about everything. And then there's a new shoe coming out that I'm using a lot, the Merrill Peak, that I'm really liking. Just about I'm going to use that at Orcas Island. 50K range shot running. Sorry, James, I forgot to mention range shot running.
No, they've been in the chat room. Matt and Carrie, James, they're all in the chat room. That's actually why I'm in Seattle. I didn't talk about
Orcas
that.
Island, yeah.
But that is it for. And who's your favorite ginger? That's the last question.
My favorite ginger?
Yeah.
Ethan.
Correct answer.
Yes.
That was so easy. Thank you, Phil, so much for letting me jump into your shop and basically ruin your evening and keep you from your child. I'm so sorry. But thank you for ruining the Super Bowl. That's always going to be a great memory for all of us. Stick around in the chat room, guys. We're going to move into the post show. But before we get to that, I'm in Seattle to run the Orcas Island 50K this weekend. But because of my injury, I will not be. But I will be there to film. So I didn't realize you were running it.
I'm running, yes.
Okay, so I'll make sure to get you on film and actually incorporate you into the final products. That's going to be really exciting. I'm going to be posting photos and all that kind of stuff across social media all week, and I will be documenting this whole week as well and doing a behind-the-scenes video for all of you to enjoy.
Yes.
And shout out, where can people find you on social media? I want to make sure that people can go to the website.
We're on Instagram, we're on Twitter, we're on Facebook. Facebook, 7 Hills Running Shop, spelled out 7. Twitter, we're 7 Hills Run Shop, number 7, 7 Hills Run Shop. Instagram, we're 7 Hills Running, spell out 7. And we don't do Pinterest, and we don't do anything else.
Unless you're a 45-year-old housewife, I wouldn't worry about Pinterest. Wedding cakes and kittens.
7hillsrunningshop.com, spell out 7. And we post. Every time we have something new, we post on all that stuff, and so we try to keep it up to date. That's seemingly half of what I do is.
It's a huge part of the business for sure, especially this day and age. So thank you for letting me raid your store and cause a ruckus and make a mess and have a bunch of people here as well watching the live show. Again, thank you very much for tuning in live. Stick around for the post show. I want to meet some of the 7 Hills running team. There's actually a huge crew here that is sponsored by the 7 Hills Running Company. So I'm really excited to meet them and showcase kind of what it takes to be a part of the team and kind of how you chose them, because they're like friends or because they're really good or because they paid you or they're good looking. So stick around for the post show. You won't want to miss it. We're going to continue to drink beer and eat pizza. Seriously, everyone, help yourself. There's plenty of pizza. Thank you very much for tuning in live. All the social media is on Twitter. It's at The Ginger Runner. Facebook, facebook.com/TheGingerRunner. GingerRunner.com. Instagram is at Ethan Newbreak, because someone else owns The Ginger Runner, which is stupid. But be sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel. We're doing live shows every single Monday at 6 p.m. Pacific. And I realize I'm talking really fast, but I'm trying to just move right into the post show. And new reviews and stuff like that every single week as well. Thank you so much for tuning in live. We'll see you guys next week. All right. Thanks everybody for sticking around for the post show. So Phil, talk a bit about the 7 Hills Running team.
What's the post show?
Post show is just more casual version. Only those who are watching live and who watch the YouTube version will get the post show. The podcast does not get the post show. So this is kind of like where chat room can interact.
What if there's a greatest hit in the post show? Would you like?
It's just for the YouTube audience. It's very special.
Okay.
Yeah, special just for those who are here live as well.
Yes.
In the actual room.
So much.
So talk about what it takes to be on 7 Hills Running team.
Well, express interest, I guess, to be. So I guess the team is really anybody. So anybody who's here, even I gave Ethan a sticker. You're on the. I will include you on the team if you want to be. So on our website, we could list your name as being on the team if you want us to.
I've never been on a team before.
I'll put your name on there. Do you
Yeah.
want your name on there?
Yeah, I'm into it.
Put
Just
Paige.
put-
So
just-
Paige,
Just put it at the bottom. Just make sure that I'm last place always.
Alphabetical order.
Sorry, I'm elite mid packer.
And really, so anyone here, if you know something like Bill and Allie, give us your name if you want to be listed. It's kind of like an informal club, because I thought about having people pay to be in the. I was like, I don't want to.
Oh, I don't want to pay you.
Yeah, well, I don't want.
It would be worth it for some of the gear that you have.
I don't want to be like audited or. You're like, oh yeah, I got all this money.
There's so many IRS members that watch this. Yeah. Oh,
So
I got to invoice that guy.
so it's just informal and anyone could be on it. But then it started as like sponsored runners, and so my worry is that people are only going to ever think as Team Seven Hills as like a few sponsored runners. But there are sponsored runners. Anyone could be on the team. The sponsor, there's
Let's meet some of your runners.
Yeah, so Paige works here. Paige Patel, she's on Instagram.
Hi, Paige. Where can people find Paige on Instagram? I'll have to relay
a
it.
tricky one.
Or
like
on social, on Twitter, anything?
Yeah, I'm on Facebook.
Facebook, Paige Patillo.
Paige Patillo.
But she, so she's pretty speedy. Darn injuries are getting Paige lately, but anyone who runs pretty much and wants to be on the team and works here is like a sponsored runner. So I really want to. I guess the people that work here were the first like really sponsored runners, because I want to give back to our employees and give them more stuff than give them as much as I can.
As much support as possible.
Yeah, and so
if you're on the team, come forward just so we can.
So I kind of think of them as come on in. I kind of think of them as.
I want to see faces.
And so when I added
belt buckle crutch,
Yeah.
Get on this side. Just stand right over here, guys.
So then adding people that didn't work here as sponsored runners, I kind of think of them as like extended employees a little bit. So Adam with the belt buckle from Western States.
Yep, Western States.
Whoa.
And Phil.
Oh, Corey, when did Corey get here?
Yeah.
What's up, Corey?
The first time meeting, I haven't met Corey officially yet, except on Instagram and whatnot. So Corey's here. Masazumi, he did UTMB and what was the other big one you last year? Harvard? UTMF.
No joke.
Mount Fuji.
Either of those races.
Jordan, she did a lot of good races. Second at Cascade Crest locally here in 100.
That's gonna be my first 100 this year.
Christopher Berry, another employee, and probably races too much, but I guess that's a good thing for getting the name out there.
And a great beard.
And he's got the the lumber sexual.
When you're ready to shave it off, are you gonna frame the beard? You should frame the beard on the wall.
He's all man. It's always it grows so fast. It's coming and going all. I think I've been growing this for like 2 weeks. It's coming and going on him, so I can't. I don't know. Yeah. Oh, we forgot the hair. Can I do my haircut story?
Yes.
So this is my first official haircut, since I was married, since my wedding day. I should have opened with that.
How do we not open with that? That's great.
I told you. I don't know.
That's an hour conversation right there.
So so I got a haircut when I got married, and then ever since then I've just been like, but then I was like, whoa, I'm gonna get interviewed on GingerRunner on live webcast, whatever. I gotta get a haircut. So then I got a haircut at Rudy's in Ballard, and
shout out to Rudy's.
Yeah, of course, my wife was like, "Oh, they took too much off," and I was like, "Yeah, it's so short." But that's why I don't get haircuts, because I feel like they cut all the hair off.
You look great.
Thanks.
You look great, and I bet you're faster. You probably got a good 3.
Yeah, man, I feel so cold. I got a haircut, and I was like, "Whoa, I'm so cold."
Those are your arms, though, Phil. I don't know. It's great to meet the Seven Hills running team. Congratulations, guys. You guys are all excellent. Can't wait to follow you on. So Team Seven Hills, we even have stickers. So that's where the 7 on a jersey. I should have mentioned that. Darn it, sorry. No, that's my fault. I should have asked the question. Why is it called Seven Hills?
So there's 7 hills of Seattle.
Yeah. So let me try.
Well, there's like 28 hills of Seattle.
Beacon, Capitol, Queen Anne, Magnolia, Crown. Does West Seattle count as a hill?
According to Wikipedia, yes. And
what was
the other?
First Hill.
First Hill, yeah. So those are
Seven. Wow.
But so originally, if you got to go to Wikipedia, Seven Hills, Seattle, Seven Hills of Seattle. But yeah, so I love history. I love, I didn't grow up here, but I got this history book from the underground tour. If you go to Pioneer Square, there's an underground tour. So it's a great thing to go. I just loved it. And at the end, they try to sell you all this stuff. And I never buy any of that stuff, but for some reason, maybe somebody bought it for me. I bought this history book, and it's written by this crazy historian guy who just writes in a really, really matter of fact. It's, most history books are boring, but this one, I can't remember his name off the top of my head, but they were just pushing his books. So I bought one of his books. It's hilarious and talks about Seattle. And but I think my wife officially came up with the name. In my memory, I think I came up with Seven Hills Running Shop.
But in her memory, it's hers.
My wife's, and
the correct answer, Phil, is hers.
Yes, but because I have to, my memory is so bad about things like that, so I don't remember it, but I know if she remembers it, that it's totally my wife Ellen came up with the name, and I came up with so many other names that I don't even remember. But Seven Hills Running Shop stuck. I was working on Capitol Hill, and so they're still, I don't. It's been a while since I've been up on Broadway, but they're putting in a rail station or something right on Broadway.
One of the new light rails or something.
A new light rail station right on Broadway.
Mm-hmm.
And they had a sign, like historical marker, and they're talking about the Seven Hills of Seattle. And then I remember Googling it and be like, oh yeah, or Wikipediaing it, Seven Hills. And I was like, well, that sounds like a cool name. So going back to one of the first questions, like, did you want to be a trail specific place?
Yeah.
I did, but I didn't want to say Seattle Trail Running Company or Trail Running, because I thought if it didn't work, because other people were telling me it wasn't going to work, I wanted the flexibility to just to morph into something else, or to not. I didn't want to be pigeonholed to something. Just to be, I just wanted to be a cool shop. So I didn't want, if I said trail shop, I didn't want people who weren't trail runners not to want to come in. But anyway, so originally, according to Wikipedia, first hill, second hill, which doesn't second hill doesn't exist anymore. It's the top part of Capitol Hill, according to Wikipedia, like where Trader Joe's is. Capitol Hill, Yesler Hill, which no one calls Yesler Hill anymore. It's kind of like Pill Hill, or they kind of
Pill Hill is what I remember.
But yeah, first hill is kind of like Pill Hill. Beacon Hill, Queen Anne, and Denny Hill. Denny Hill is the one they totally, which is the coolest part of Seattle's history, is there's this big giant hill with this awesome cool hotel on top of it. Wiped out, just wiped the hill, just
destroyed it,
bulldozed it. Wow. Yeah, hosed it down, bulldozed it, and used all that land to like fill in where the stadiums are, fill in other. I don't know. It's crazy. It's just crazy to me how the Seattle there wasn't flat space in downtown. There was originally downtown was like on piers.
Yeah,
I couldn't believe. I was like, when I read the history of Seattle, I was like, what the heck? How the heck?
I mean, that's what I remember, is that the city was built on landfill because of the Great Seattle Fire. The whole city was decimated, and they rebuilt it on top of itself. Yep. And if there was an earthquake, all of downtown would turn to liquid, because it's all just landfill sitting on an ocean. And if there's an earthquake, it's just
and gone. So of course somebody's thought it would be a good idea to do the tunnel through. So they're trying to bore a tunnel through landfill. Yeah. I don't know.
They're crazy idiots.
Hills, So Seven Hills, look it up. It's a thing. I actually so I grew up in Ohio, and I didn't know it, but there's a Seven Hills like township. My sister told me after I opened the store, she was like, there's a Seven Hills town in Ohio real close to us. And I was like, oh no, I didn't. So there's a Seven Hills in Ohio. There's Cincinnati has like a Seven Hills race.
Oh, interesting.
There's a Seven Hills running club in Texas. Hey guys, but I nothing to do with them in Texas. And I figured, being in Seattle, they probably wouldn't care if I named the store Seven Hills. And who thinks that Texas is having hills?
So, what are some of your favorite Northwest races?
So White River 50 was my first. So gotta get. Where's the picture?
Do you have a picture from it of you?
Oh heck yeah! Well, here's Uli.
What's cool about the store is he's got pictures of not just random trail photos, but people that either are from the store, work at the store, or have some sort of relationship with the store. I think it's really great.
So
A lot of Northwest races.
So here's Uli. I can't remember what year this was. Glenn, all these pictures are Glenn's. Glenn, come on. Glenn.
Oh yeah, Glenn, come here,
pictures.
or at least I want to show Glenn.
It's just the after show, Glenn. No one's
watching, Glenn. No one cares. Here, come.
So, anyways,
Glenn is an amazing photographer.
So it's funny. So the first time we did it is 2003. I don't remember seeing Mount Rainier at all, and then I saw Glenn's pictures, and I was like, What? Where were you? Where was I? Like, how did I not see the mountain? I just wasn't paying attention. I was tired, or I was looking down.
That's Mount Rainier on the right, not the left. That's
that's the second big climb. So you see it. You go 2 big climbs. You see it on both. But what were 50?
Where did you? Oh, you pulled this off the wall.
Yeah, Western States is probably the race that is biggest in my heart. It's in California, of course, but that
If you look back on the door, you can see. Are those your numbers?
No, they're the Pacers from last year.
Those are Pacer bibs from Western States, right there behind the jersey.
Here. This is So me and Jonathan Bernard paced Adam last year, so we both wore this number.
Yep.
And then John Matum and maybe someone else paced Josh.
John Maton's numbered there. That's a Pacer for John.
Yeah. But yeah, Western States. Western States is my first 100, so I have just have a
Stark medal. We saw a belt buckle earlier.
I just like Western States, and I'd love to run it again, Montrail and Western States Sport. If you would like to let me in,
just win Gorge 100K.
If I don't win Gorge 100K, I would still like to get in Western States. So yes, I will. Western States. I don't know. I've been trying. I don't think they particularly like people from Seattle. That's all.
Yeah, they called and they said they hate Seattle. They absolutely hate Seattle.
Yeah.
We're gonna kind of wrap it up here, guys, because we do have more beer to drink and more pizza to eat. Yes. You guys are amazing. The chat room is still going. I wish that you guys could just keep the chat room going the whole time. I believe once I click end stream, then the post show ends. But again, Phil, thank you so much for filling up your running shop with gear and stuff like that.
You guys too much.
No, man, are you kidding me? I've been wanting to talk to an actual shop owner forever.
There's so much stuff I wanted to say, and I don't know if I said it all. Though.
If you didn't, we'll have you back on. We'll do this again.
Okay.
Because I'm going to be in Seattle for a while, and every time, I'll ask you now. I come back to Seattle often because this is where I'm from. This is where my family's from. I would love to come here and do shows from here more often because I think it's excellent. It's a cool shop. One thing I love is supporting local shops because they obviously do great service and they take care of the people that come in here, the customers. They treat them like family. It becomes a community, and I'm a big fan of that. I think it's excellent. And any shop that I've gone into that's local to a town, whether it's San Francisco Running Company or Rogue Valley Runners in Ashland. I haven't been to the East Coast, so I know there's a lot of East Coasters like, you got to come to this shop or that shop. I just haven't been out there. But
Vertical Runner in Ohio.
There you go. I will never go to Ohio, though. I'm a big fan. Everyone missed the joke. How did no one catch that joke? Ohio's a beautiful, beautiful state.
They got what's Burning River 100.
Yeah, and actually I've heard that's a really, really tough race. Fairly flat though, right?
I dropped out.
So
it was tough.
Very difficult.
It was harder than I thought.
Okay, so maybe it's not the flat one.
Humidity, darn humidity.
That'll get you every time. There's actually a lot of races going on this weekend as well. So if you're running Sean O'Brien or Orcas, or if you're down at the Coastal Challenge in Costa Rica, you wouldn't be watching this right now, but good luck. I'm just a big fan of local shops. So if you live anywhere near some sort of local family owned shop, go there, support them. Whether it's buying your nutrition or buying some clothes or buying a pair of shoes, support the local shops. It's just beneficial to them, because hearing from Phil and talking to Phil is a great example of, he built this shop off $1,000. That's it. $1,000.
White River. Just win White River.
Just win White River and then open a store and compete with Fleet Feet. That's it. That's all it takes.
Or second to a German citizen.
Someone that's not legally allowed to take payment. Thank you so much.
Yeah,
I appreciate it. And again, go to 7hillsrunningshop.com and support them, or call Phil.
Break our server.
Break. I mentioned that before the show, and I actually really don't want that to happen because it's a terrible thing to happen.
I don't know.
All right, great. Let's go break Phil's server and ruin his website. Yes. So thank you guys for tuning in live to the post show. I really appreciate it. We're going to be doing this every single Monday, 6 p.m. Pacific, maybe from a different location next week. Who knows? Yes. And again, thanks, Phil. Island, right? And yeah, if not from Orcas, from Seattle, from somewhere. And again, thank you to everyone who's here in the shop. I really appreciate it. You guys are awesome. We'll see you next week. Bye.